Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform, our platform, to become your spiritual server. Welcome to the daily energetic currents, the daily astrology, the daily tarot for today, good lord, for today, Saturday, October the 27th of 2018. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. As you can see, I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to talk properly. I don't know how to string together words into a sentence to convey to you a message about the astrology and the energy for today. It's 3 p.m. and I don't normally make dailies on the weekends, but I challenged myself to make a daily every day this week, and even though it's later than I would want to put this out, I still want to put this out because I still feel like the energy is applicable. I still feel like it could provide some, I feel like it can provide some good for somebody out there. And plus, it'll be good for me too, because today already I feel has been sort of a day that's kind of been, it's sort of a bittersweet energy to today, or at least that's what I felt. But it's like, looking back on it, I was like, honestly, it's been a great day. I think the cards for today are very applicable. We have the Page of Cups, the Moon, and the card of Miracle. Miracle reach, the frequency of miracle supports our belief in ourselves as part of Source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. And I think, for me, I've sort of attached myself to a belief, or I've attached myself to this sort of idea that whenever I look in the mirror, I see a miracle, because, it is a miracle that we are here. But, if you look around life in general, if you just look around your surroundings, even right now, everything that you see is a mirror to your reality. So even Miracle, it has the same three characters to start off with, the M, the I, and the R. And when I think of miracles, I actually think of when I think of the word miracle, I actually think of like two circles kind of coming together and there being like a mirror to each other. It could also be the two circles that come together that create the figure 8, which can be represented in many ways by Scorpio energy, and the sun is in Scorpio right now. See, that's how my mind works. I'm able to bridge things together that seem like they don't belong. But today is really sort of even like a precursor and kind of showing us how we can actually connect things that seem seemingly opposed to one another. But how can we actually bring these things and bridge them to each other in a beautiful way? And the Page of Cups is very much so concerned about beauty. The Page of Cups is very much so concerned about romance. Very much so wears their heart on the sleeve, and really definitely is more of a feeler of their experience, and can sometimes get even caught up in the dream world. Page of Cups can definitely be a dreamer. Page of Cups is the type of person who would write poetry, just write just pages and pages of poetry for someone that they adored, and will have about 30 to 40 poems written for this individual that they fancy, and still hasn't talked to the individual, or has had at least a couple of seriously awkward encounters and interactions with that person. But we also have the Moon card here, which lets me know that it's important to know where the Moon is and what's being reflected to us, and what sort of world are we sort of enacting in right now. The Moon right now is in Gemini. In fact, as far as astrology goes, it's really the main thing that's happening today. It's just the Moon continuing its transit through Gemini. We do have the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction coming more to an apex, which will happen tomorrow, Sunday. And later on today, we will have the Sun making a sextile over to Pluto. But the main thing really is this moon in Gemini, which, you know, the moon being in Gemini, I think is very curious and very chatty. Emotionally, we're a little bit more responsive emotionally when the moon is in Gemini. We're a little more responsive, but we're also able to, you know, we're able to, if people say certain things that may not, you know, resonate with us, we're able to sort of move past them a little bit easier. We're a little bit more flexible during this time. We kind of can allow things to kind of roll over our shoulders a little bit easier during this time because it's mutable air, which means that it's able to adapt and it has this quality of changeability. So emotionally, we can sort of feel this way. You gotta think Gemini is also the twins, so and coupled with the sun being in the already bipolar Scorpio, this is going to make the energies even more bipolar. So there can be one minute where you're feeling like everything's going great, and the other minute where you can feel like everything's going to shit. Like it's like not real, and it's going to almost seem like there's no in between. The moon's going to be squaring off to Neptune retrograde, which is in Pisces. So this can be like, you may even be wanting to communicate a dream of yours, but you're having difficulty manifesting it. You could be wanting, or you could even like having these thoughts that come through, these very psychic thoughts, but you may perceive it as something else, or you may think you're crazy, but really your psychic abilities are just turning on, and it's providing this challenge because you haven't really either met anyone in your personal life, or you haven't really had much of a platform for understanding how psychic abilities blossom in the first place. We don't really tell people how it happens, and yes, it is unique to the individual, but there are certain themes that are common and a little bit more widespread and a little bit more, you know, general, which is why I think right now we have such a push to see so many people put out, you know, spiritual new age types of videos and concepts about this awakening process. And like I do feel like the awakening process is unique to the individual, and we are all at different stages in our growth. And you know, I feel like life in general is a spiritual journey. Like there's no part of life that isn't spiritual. So, and that's an interesting way of looking at it, because then it kind of takes the mysticism out of it, but it also kind of gives you a great power, because then you realize that life is sort of a game, and you know, there is a way to move about your surroundings. And if there's a certain experience that you want, or there's something that you want to go for, you actually can adapt to your surroundings and actually move in the direction towards that. Today is a day really where you definitely want to test out word magic, just because, you know, Gemini and Tarot is ruled by, you know, the Magi, right, the magician. So it would be advantageous for you over the next day to day and a half or so, while the moon is still in Gemini, to kind of play with words, to try and do like little affirmations and see what happens. Write things down. That'll really help to ground things too. And just note that honestly, everything you see is a miracle. Like, today is a very beautiful, positive day, but I think it can also be a day where we may experience like the light and the dark today. And we do that every day, but we may be like a little bit more aware of it today. We may feel a little bit more bipolar today, and I kind of hesitate to say that, because I know that there are people out there that are actually diagnosed with these mental disorders. I do think that a good bit of these people are actually psychic, and since we don't really understand or understand these psychic faculties more, these other senses, we, you know, and this is just you know, how things progress. It was like, for the longest time we've had very, very weird medical practices on how to, you know, heal and treat ourselves, and then later on we learned that it was something else. So maybe right now the spike that we see with, you know, mental disorders and psychological issues is because a lot of our other senses are waking up. A lot of our psychic senses are waking up. We're becoming more aware of them. So naturally, we are kind of in this initiation zone. We're kind of in this preliminary state where we really can bring our dreams into fruition. We really do have an incredible power that really was, given to us with this recent full moon in Taurus. Now that we're heading towards the new moon in Scorpio, this is about kind of us coming back into a bit of a polyp state. But when we come back to that polyp state, we're really going to understand more on a deeper level, even though it's probably going to be mostly subconscious, but we're going to know on a deeper level what our purpose is. And then we're going to see that as we move on from that new moon, and as Jupiter at that point will be in Sagittarius, the new adventure begins. So today is going to be, I feel, a very important day for just remembering your worth, remembering that you absolutely can manifest your dreams, and they don't have to just stay dreams forever. And that today's also going to be a day where I'm hearing emotional flexibility, and that means that you allow yourself to feel the emotions, A, because that's a flexibility, is actually allowance, and then B, you allow those emotions to flow away when they need to, and you don't hold on to them. And like I said, since the moon is in Gemini, hashtag petty game. So if people are petty and people are saying things and like you can kind of tell that, unless it's like actually their character and actually their personality, like if they are a Gemini, obviously they can, like they're supposed to. Same with Leo and even a little bit of Sag. But like if you can just tell that it's a little out of character and people are just being a little bit snippy or a little bit petty, just realize that this is moon in Gemini. People are just reacting in that way. And also realize that everyone is at different stages of their journey and different stages of their evolution. So hold space for these individuals. These individuals don't really mean too much harm. A lot of times it's just trolling energy. And there's a lot of shadow energy. There are dark forces, but there's also a lot of trolling energy. And like the interesting thing about the trolling energy, and you can kind of tell, but a lot of the trolling energy is kind of like this anti-hero energy that's kind of behind it, where it's like it would seem like they're against us, but they're not. They really aren't. So just be aware of that. Be the romantic today. Like seriously, bring your imagination through and just envision really what you want for yourself. Don't hold back. Do not hold back, okay? The moon will also be trining Mars later on today, after it conjuncts Pluto, which will be awkward, but then it makes that trine to Mars, and it's definitely going to be feeling more positive. It's going to be feeling more like you can move into the future, and actually can, I'm not going to say fix, because Mars in Aquarius definitely likes to try and fix things, but I think with this moon in Gemini, trining this Mars with all these aspects, now that the sun is in Scorpio, now that Jupiter is getting ready to come home, like I said, coming off of this very powerful full moon, I think this trine is going to be like, no, this is not really us trying to fix life. This is about us creating the life that is health. That is the antidote. That is that miracle. That is that magic. It's not fixed. It is beautiful as it is because it's of allowance. It goes with the flow. How many other metaphors can I spin into this to try and get across my message if I haven't already? Appreciate today. Love today. Radiate love today. Just be yourself. Be yourself, and just know that the miracle is going to continue to unfold every single day. And a great adventure, a great adventure beckons. That is it for your reading today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to theAquarianAdepts.com. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, stay focused, and Yahoo!